destiny calling, calling out my name. Failure and dreams both offering, but both offering change. Surrender offers rest, but I die for peace. Don't need your protection, don't need no shield. Now watch me bleed, now watch me bleed.
Hey, Alabama Bass Nation, it's Chris Tate. I am here with the number 5 bass angler from the 2021 high school combine Bassmaster, Kai Barnett from Shelby County Anglers. Kai, welcome to the interview, and I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you for letting me be here.
So Kai is going to kind of take us through the 2021 Bassmaster high school combine and just kind of, tell us all the benefits that he obtained from it and some best practices that you guys might be able to utilize. And then we're going to talk about NSR Fishing, how NSR Fishing helped Kai Barnett actually secure a scholarship to McKendree. So, hey, there you go, Kai. Appreciate it. So, hey, Kai, let's start with day one. Basically, let's talk about when you walked in there, day one, all the coaches were set up. Kind of tell us, what the 2022 high school combine anglers can expect and what should they do when they're talking to the coaches, or any advice that you have?
Probably one of the big things I would say is don't be nervous when you're talking to the coaches. The coaches most of them are real down to earth and they're really great people. They're there to recruit you. So just be yourself, talk to them, have a good time. A lot of them are willing to talk just about fishing. I can't tell you how many of them I would just go up to them and start talking about how, fishing around there with their school and that kind of stuff. And another thing is always talk to all the coaches. Even if you don't think you're going to go to a school, go talk to them. Like there's a school like Campbellsville University. I never even thought I would even have them in my idea, but I went and talked to them at the combine and they were one of my top 3 schools at the end of when I was choosing. So, really, just talk to everybody, get a good feel for everything. It's just an amazing experience and you're not going to get that chance without the combine.
Absolutely. And and that's one of the great things about the Bassmaster Combine is they resource all those coaches and put them in one place. And it's kind of like shopping, for your education. So whether you're focused on academics and you have a specific program of the school that you want to go to, and naturally you want to compete in a high school, in a college fishing team. So, there may be, like you said, you go in with one perspective of talking to a coach, and then, hey, this other school has a better program for your education or your fishing. So, that's great advice, Kai. I appreciate that. So, basically all those coaches are there and they're there to see you. And one of the things I liked about what Bassmaster Combine did is they had a book on all the 85 anglers that were there. And they kind of had like a great profile, so they could just open up that book and look at you and kind of read about you. That was another amazing thing. And so, let's talk about day one competition, man. There's a lot of events out there. Oh, yeah. So kind of just take us through each event from your perspective and basically how can anglers prepare for that event?
Okay, so the first event I competed in was a testing. And it was tough the day we were doing it. We had, I think, upwards of 15, 20 mile per hour winds blowing right off the river. And it was tough. It was one of the harder events, definitely in the competition. But if you're during that event, you really just got to focus on, you don't have to have a super long cast. If you try too hard, you're either going to go outside the boundaries or you're going to, backlash or something. Just make sure you have one really solid throw, like a 80-foot throw, because that's going to keep you in the running for an overall good appearance.
Okay, so one of my takeaways from that is practice, and then naturally when you get there you use their equipment. You don't bring your own equipment, is that correct?
Yes.
So you're utilizing their equipment, and everybody wants to practice, but like you said, we had unexpected 15 to 30 mile an hour winds. So go out there and practice in the wind, for your casting. Just don't do it on a perfect day. And that's great advice. You don't have to aim for keep yourself in contention. So what was the next event that you can share with?
The next event I did was the knot tying, and I tie an FG knot, which is a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer to tie, but in my opinion, it's a stronger knot. But a lot of kids that went into the event couldn't tie Florida braid. So there was a lot of people at the event trying to learn how to tie a uni knot or trying to learn how to tie an FG knot that had never tied them before because they were from places like Texas or Florida that they don't use leaders a lot of times. So, a big deal is know your knot, know what knot you're comfortable with and be comfortable with a knot. It doesn't have to be the fastest knot. It doesn't have to be the strongest, but you just have to know how to tie a knot good.
Okay. So basically, to recap that, you need to be able to tie a leader on leader knot. And you said you did the FG knot. Is that what you said?
Knot, yeah.
So basically just, kind of look at those knots that you want to use. Were there any other knots was it just one?
Well, you had to tie a leader to line, like a main line to leader knot, and then you had to tie a leader to hook knot. So I did a polymer. That's what most people did. It's fast, strong. It's probably going to be your best option for that, line to hook knot. But for the leader to line, you just got to find something you're comfortable with.
Right. And then, like I said, that's all timed. So, you rewarded points based upon how fast you tie that knot. And then you guys went to the strength. So was there any points for the strength portion of that?
So the thing about the strength is if you got to, I think it was 15 pounds was the line strength. So if you got to 15 pounds, you got the maximum points for the strength. So as long as your knot can get to that 15 pounds and the line breaks and you're not breaking, you get the maximum points for the strength. And then it's all about how fast you did it. So a lot of people got the maximum strength and it was all down to time.
Okay. All right. So time is going to be the critical thing on that. And like I said, the great thing was Berkeley brought their testing machine for knot strength. And that's what they did. So, again, practice the cast, practice the knot tying. So what other events can you talk about?
The accuracy was probably my favorite event because I do a lot of flipping and pitching, and I placed really well in that event because of how much I flipped and how much I, pitched. But one way to really figure that out is if you keep your boat on a trailer and you have just in your backyard or something, you can go stand on your boat and set up cups and that kind of stuff because the targets we're trying to hit weren't but that big around. So if you can set up something about that size and set them up at different areas around, I think the farthest out was 20 foot. You come into 5 foot. If you set them up just all the way back and forth, that's a perfect way to practice for that event. And if you can get it down where you can hit those all pretty consistently and back to back to back to back, you can win that event. Because a lot of people struggle and miss one over and over and over again. But if you can hit them back to back to back, you're going to do really well in that event.
That's awesome. And that platform, you guys were on a boat, if I remember right?
We were on it, yeah.
We were on an actual boat doing that. So that's the best way to practice on that. And that the long cast, if I remember, you guys were on a platform or whatever on that one. So you may want to try to elevate yourself to the same circumstances or same conditions. So you're going to be elevated. So what other events can you talk about or tell us?
That was about all we had. But then one of the more fun, times we had was when we got to go out with the coaches. So the coaches, most of the team brought a boat with them, and they would take us out on the water. And I think one or two of the people I went out with, they took me out, they let me graph and let me show them how I knew how to graph and different kind of stuff like that. And and you really got to talk to coaches one-on-one. You weren't in a confined experience, confined area, sitting at a table face to face with them. You were just kind of out there on the water with them. And I don't know, most people are like me. They're going to be a lot more comfortable, a lot more open on the water. So that's your time to really, dig in and figure out the personality of the coach you're really with.
Awesome. That's great. So anything else about the combine that you want to kind of share or anything like that? as we close out the combine portion?
Well, you have to choose what schools you're going to talk to. So have an idea of the schools that are in the competition and the schools that you want to be a part of. Like I personally was really uh leaning towards McKendree when I went, but they weren't going to be there. So I chose a lot of schools that I had not talked to yet, just to get a different experience and find a lot of different schools. But if you're, from Central Alabama and you haven't talked to Troy or you haven't talked to UNA, you really need to put those on your list for people to talk to, because that's like having a college visit without having the visit.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So now, hey, let's transition into NSR, because NSR, National Scouting Report Fishing, helped you. And so I want you to, from an angler's perspective, explain, NSR as a consumer, as a user, how they helped you, what they provided you, and, how they helped you secure your scholarship to McKendree.
Well, one of the main things NSR did for me was it taught me a lot about my social media and how important my social media was. So they have a group of great people there at NSR, and they really showed me how to use my posts to get to those coaches, and really allowed me to really strengthen my, I don't know what to call it, just
your presence. Yeah, your presence.
Yeah, my presence, in the college world, and really opened myself up to all them different coaches. And they're just a really great group of people. It's almost like a family in that group. And I know I can go talk to those people about anything within the fishing world, and really anything within the college recruiting at all. I remember I've talked to them about fishing tournaments and how to like send off my tournament results to people, and they kept a spreadsheet of all my tournament results, and they really boosted my presence. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, they got you noticed, and they have the resources to the contacts, of those coaches that you may not be able to see at the Bassmaster Combine. And so, I know Larry Perrin, we're getting ready to do a thing. He's going to explain NSR. So, kind of, take us through the process of how you actually secured your scholarship with McKendree, through NSR.
So NSR really, I had already been talking to McKendree before I was like committed to, or before I really was part of NSR, but NSR really helped me decide that that's the school I wanted to go to, because of the fact that I got to see all these different schools, and it made me realize that McKendree was a school for me. And they really helped me broadcast my commitment and really helped me feel like it was the right choice for me.
Okay. So as angler, as a consumer of NSR, what advice would you give to other anglers that may be considering NSR, in the background, or, you got the class of 2023, and a lot of those guys are going to be coming up for recruiting. What advice would you give to them about NSR?
NSR is going to be your best way to get into college fishing. I did a lot of it without NSR, just because NSR just recently became, big. But I think from being so close to the NSR guys and, being almost part of that family, I think if you don't have NSR on your side, you're at a very, very big detriment to, not being able to get into that school you want to get into, or even having the experience to know what school you want to go to. Without NSR, it's just a totally different game. You're having to do everything yourself. Me and my mom spent hours finding coaches' contacts and all that, and figuring out how to contact these coaches and how to get visits and all that stuff. But with NSR, all you got to do is text one of them, and they have almost all the contacts you would need.
Right. And so, and that's that's a great point, Kai, you brought up, is that, it is a challenge. I mean, for parents out there, and anglers, that it's hard to start and know where to go. And the great thing about NSR is that it's like you go to them and they kind of take care of it for you. And so that's really the kind of the great thing. They give you the contacts, or they provide you the information. Because I mean, like you said, how much time do you think you and your mom spent looking for a lot of these schools and coaches' contacts, and then you find out that coach may not even be there anymore. So, I mean, how much time did
Oh yeah, we
you and your
spent
mom
days.
spend? Days, yeah. So you know,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, yeah, there was a lot of schools that I never even got a chance to contact before NSR because their contact information would be wrong or their site. Like Montevallo was one of those teams that I couldn't get in contact with Coach Crawford until I was part of NSR because I couldn't figure out how to get to him unless I went up there and talked to him personally.
right. So I understand, and it can be a challenge. I mean, because like I said, sometimes their information is just not readily available, or when you do a web search, you're not looking in the right place, and then that's it's hard, and to kind of research a lot of that stuff. So so Larry Perrin and NSR does a great job of doing that and placing you in front of them, or at least giving you the connection for you to promote yourself and doing that. So I want to close it out. I mean, do you got anything else you want to say about the NSR or Combine or anything?
For one thing, for the combine, just don't be nervous. Go into it, have fun. You're going to meet a lot of people, and even if the coach, they obviously talk to the coaches and talk to all the coaches and have as much fun as you can with them, but also talk to the kids. You're meeting kids from all across the country. That's one thing that I loved about fishing the national championship last year and the combine is I got to meet kids from all across the country and learn different ways to fish and all kinds of different stuff. And you can really learn a lot from the kids there because a lot of them kids are like you. Their dream is to fish in college, and or all them kids are. So you can learn a lot from them.
Well, Kai, man, like I said, I appreciate your time, and I hope this helps a lot of people. And I want to wish you the best of luck at McKendree. And you were getting ready for the state championship, aren't you? Or
Yep.
so you and Justin.
Yep.
So I want to wish you guys the best of luck at the Alabama Bass Nation High School State Championship. In about a week and a half. Look forward to seeing you guys down there. And who knows, man? What a way to close out your year. I'm sure you just graduated here recently.
Yep. I graduated yesterday.
Graduated yesterday. So congratulations on
sir.
that, man. So be nice to hoist that Alabama Bass Nation State Championship up as you close out your high school year, man.
All right. Yes, sir. You have a great night.
You too.